We're back with a part 2. Go ahead and introduce yourself again.
I'm JaTyler, a good friend, best friend to Kiana, you know what I'm saying?
This is my homie, this is my road dog, my ride or die. I love him to death. So if y'all tuned in, last week we had a guy's opinion interview. I had some questions that I asked JaTyler. But the video was running mad long and we had only got 3 questions done. So I was like, let me go ahead and cut it. And I'm gonna make a part 2 because I like the way this discussion was going. I like the conversation that we was having. So we're gonna continue. Let's get into it. Is that how she said it? Is that it?
So.
No. I don't know how that video goes, but we're gonna get into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay. So like I said before, like if you weren't tuned into that video last week, this video is basically me asking JaTyler questions from a guy's perspective. These are questions that some females have submitted to me. These are questions that I came up with that I felt like would be beneficial for helping other females see the situation from a guy's perspective. And he's a Christian. And so that's something else too. These are going to be, you know, kind of Christian based. You know, we cut up and we have a good time, but we're young Christians. So we are trying to make sure that that kind of is also something that's at the forefront. My scarf look a little funny in the camera. But anyway, so we just gonna go ahead and jump in. This is probably why it took that long last time. I'm doing all this rambling. Okay, so we just gonna jump in. So this question, we left off on this question. Are you, now I'm not gonna say are you, but are guys typically clear with expectations or in a relationship or their intentions? Or do you feel like it's very situational?
Very situational, but at the same time, I'm gonna say no. I feel like as a guy, you know, I always think a woman has high standards. You know what I'm saying? So when we start dating this and that, I assume that she knows what we both want, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if it gets to a situation where we're not clear about it, I don't have no problem talking about it, me personally. But I can definitely see, you know, most guys, they'll be like, I mean, she knows what she want from me, you know what I'm saying? So we should be on the same page.
So, like, for me personally, like, I'm somebody that, like, I'm an ass because I like clarity. I like, you know, having somewhat of a direction or, like, some type of end goal. For me personally, I'm going to ask the question at some point, like, if I feel like we're getting kind of serious or I'm starting to develop feelings and you've expressed that you have feelings for me as well, I'm going to ask the question, like, what are we, but what are the intentions? Are we just dating just to date? Are we dating exclusively? Are we trying to, like, be a couple? Are we working towards marriage? Now, we're young, so I know marriage is something that may not be automatically on our radar, but I mean, that is a goal ultimately for me personally. That's a goal for me personally. I'm not going to speak for everyone because I told you I can't speak for everyone. But that's a goal for me personally. So, you know, I just don't want it to be a situation if I'm thinking marriage and you're thinking dating, passing time, I want to make sure we're on the same page. So I'm not wasting my time, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, spending time that I could be spending getting to know somebody that has intentions of marrying me, you know what I'm saying? Because that's one of my goals. So I feel like that's kind of like something that can kind of go a little bit of both ways as far as intentions and expectations, but I feel like that most definitely should be a conversation.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, I mean, I personally am kind of like intentional when it comes to, like, I don't want to waste my time.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into something or go into a relationship talking to somebody or, you know, dealing with somebody just for them to basically be like, oh, and by the way, I don't see this being a long-term thing or a forever thing. So I'm going to end up getting my feelings hurt. Like, I'm just kind of funny about my emotions. So, like, that's kind of how I view that part. But is that kind of like the same thing?
I think just because, you know, we're not like most people, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, and that's the cold-hearted, honest truth. We're not like most people. So I know, like, it's definitely a conversation that needs to be had, but it's not going to happen until, like, there's a situation where, oh, like, I want to get married, and then the guy or girl is not trying to get married, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that ends up being time wasted.
And that can also go both ways, too, because it can be guys with intentions of marrying and a female that's like, oh, I thought we were just cooling.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, having that conversation, I feel like is very beneficial because I'm thinking you wifey, and you over here like, oh, I was talking to you and Sam, John, Smith, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold up. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that conversation is kind of something that probably should be had. But like, I just was wondering, kind of like, do you tend to be clear with that, or do our guys tend to be clear, but apparently it's a little murky because you don't really know. But I feel like if y'all are, you know, dating or talking to somebody, having that conversation is not a bad conversation to have, especially if you guys are laying your expectations and your intentions down on the table, so that way it can kind of alleviate people being hurt, or that, you know, opportunity for someone to be hurt in the process. Okay, so are there standards that you hold yourself to as a Christian in a relationship?
I would say yes, but at the same time, given that I'm a perfect Christian, I tend to let things slide. You know what I'm saying? I think that's vice versa too, because let me say this. So there's certain, like I said, it goes with standards. There's standards that I just need in a woman, and there's standards I would like in a woman, but if she doesn't have them, like, we can work towards it, if that makes sense. So, for example, growing up, my dad did not go to church a lot, so I plan to go to church a lot. So if I have a girl who doesn't go to church a lot, I'm gonna work with her so we can go to church a lot.
And that's something that can be worked.
Yeah, that's just something just off.
And see, I think that's another thing too, because I was having a conversation with my parents not too long ago, and it was like a conversation talking about like how normally, like when you're young and you've been raised to church, you've been they call us like drug babies, not like we were like our parents were druggies, but like we were always drugged to church. That's all we knew. That's all we did. Yeah. You know, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Whenever we was in the church, we was in every program, every youth thing, everything. Like my mom had us in everything. And so when she was like talking about like how kids who tend to do that, when they get to their 20s, they get to college, they kind of like, sometimes they take a break. You know what I'm saying? And they take a break. And given that may not be ideal for all Christians, and that's not all Christians, I don't speak for all Christians, but sometimes, you know, you just take a break because you've been burnt out, because that's all you've known, and then you go back. And so like my mom even said that she took a break and she went back, and then, you know, she went back and she back better than ever, you know what I'm saying? So I can see that being like something that's like kind of like an easy fix, because it's not necessarily like your relationship with God had deterred because you haven't been going to church, but at the same time, like subconsciously, you know, the need and the desire to go back to church. You just taking a break, you know what I'm saying? So I understand that.
And that's just that's just something I thought of. That's something small. There is other things, but I just can't think of them right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a Christian, there's still some certain things, like for me personally, like standards that I plan on upholding is like I've probably expressed this on one of my videos, is me being a virgin until I'm married. That's one of the standards that I hold myself to, you know, regardless if, you know, my guy that I was talking to has been sexually active in his past. My standard that, you know, I would hold for myself is what matters, you know, and I would hope that, you know, because he is pursuing me, that he would, you know, save himself until marriage, or, you know, be celibate until marriage, or whatever the case may be. But, you know, y'all know how that goes, you know. I'm not even gonna y'all know how that goes, but that would be what my hopes would be. But those are kind of standards that this is standard that I would hold myself to. And it's kind of hard to be like, oh, that's the standard that I would hold my mate to, or the person that I'm in a relationship with to, because like, I mean, it goes back to that whole standard conversation that we talked about in the last video. It's hard to have those expectations for, you know, other people, but, you know, your desire and your love for God, you know, I would hope that that is something that you were working towards or pursuing, you know, as you were pursuing me, and we're growing closer to each other, but also closer to God. So I'll say it like that. Very well said. Okay, so this one is probably going to take you back a little bit, but somebody actually sent me this question to ask. Is physical appearance weighed heavy when you're looking for a mate? Like, if it is a girl you wouldn't typically choose, but has the qualities that you admire, would you still pursue her?
I think so, 100%. I don't know if this is good or bad, and I'm just gonna say it just to say it. I feel like looks do play a role when you're looking for someone. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it. That's just me. It could just be because I'm young. I don't know.
No, I agree 100%. Because okay, it sounds bad when you say it,
Mm-hmm.
but honestly, like, what do I look like being in a relationship with somebody that I'm not physically attracted
Exactly.
to? Like, let's
You know
just
what
be
I'm
real.
saying?
Like, let's just be real. Like, I'm not gonna be like, if you're somebody that I'm not physically attracted to, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you.
Yeah.
But I will say this: there have been situations where it would be guys that I wouldn't typically go for. They weren't like ugly. they weren't ugly, but I got to know them, and I got to, like, you know, see their heart and their intentions, and got to know them as a person. And then I no longer looked at them as their physical appearance because of their heart. Like, I got to know them as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that can kind of change the game too, because like I know, like, we do have, like, in our heads we have these expectations of what our dream guy is supposed to look like. And you know, you'd be like, I want that 6-footer, dark skin, pretty smile, dressed to the nines, got a little, you know, little money, you know what I'm saying? All those physical, you know, physical attributes. And then guy give you a 5'10", brown skin, pretty smile, dress good, or he got some dress, you know, malfunctions, but it's not terrible, you know, it's doable. But you know what I'm saying? And then, like, you got to know his heart, and then he just looks like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that it's interesting because when you connect with people on an emotional level, that the attraction that you have for them can change. You know what I'm saying? Because not only are you, like, you begin to see them differently, which makes them physically attractive to you, but then also the emotional connection you have with them makes them a little more attractive. So I feel like that's kind of like, it's kind of like a catch-20, because there have been some guys, like I said, me personally, I've experienced that. There have been guys that I wouldn't normally go and pick out the bunch, but I got to know them, and I'm like, wow, like, I'm happy I took the time to get to know you, because you could be a potential, you know?
I think that's to not let looks get in the way of their other qualities, if that makes sense. Like, so like if I'm, you know, pursuing somebody, it's not gonna be, I'm not dating them because they're ugly. It's like she doesn't look attractive to me, this and that, but I'm gonna put time into it to see what she's about and what she could bring to the table. So yeah,
I'm gonna keep it a bean. Some of the guys that I didn't think I would ever talk to, they be the sweetest ones. They treat you right. They be trying to take care of you for life. They be trying to make you wifey. It be the ones that I be like, I want that one. I want that one. And he be like, get out of my face, treating you all disrespectful, all types of ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, just disrespectful to the nine. So it's interesting to kind of see how that kind of works. And then, like, you know, as I've gotten older as well, what I would typically go for has also been altering and changing, like, you know, height, and, you know, those other qualities have kind of been a little different. I've noticed, like, in my taste, like, they have been kind of changing, you know, what I typically want and what I actually end up falling for. Talking, I kind of budged a little bit. Like, I used to be really big on teeth. Like, if your teeth was messed up, I ain't want nothing to do with you. And I found myself talking to some people or having feelings with some people that didn't have their teeth right. So that's what I'm saying, how that's something that can change as you get older, or just with getting to know somebody. So that's that. So this is something that is probably a heavy hitter. Ooh, these questions towards the end is kind of deep. So what causes a sudden loss in interest from guys? This is something that somebody asked me. Like, what is something, like, what causes guys to lose interest just out the blue?
Like I said, it's very situational too. I'd say for a Christian guy, it's just when you do some off the wall stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's as plain as I can put it. Me personally, ignorance, that's like, I mean, that's pretty much everybody, but if you just ignorant and you just do some off the wall stuff, it's not even
I don't know though, because I've okay, so like I kind of have this thing. I would talk to some dudes, or I'll text some dudes for a little bit of time, like, you know, just getting to know them, nothing too major, but I would get like a gut feeling or whatever, and it's that like another female has stepped back on the scene or stepped on the scene. Like, mine tend to be people go back to their ex. and it blows me. I don't know what I be doing. Maybe I'm like that terrible of a person where it's like I send you back to your ex, but I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Or it was just never no like the unfinished business or whatever the case may be. But like it's like something like tells me like, oh, they stopped texting me because they back with their ex. And sure enough, week later, hey guys, she on the Snapchat, you know, I'm like, oh, that's what that was. So like for me, like me personally experience, like I said, I can't speak for guys. I'm not a guy, but the guys that I have pursued, not I haven't pursued, that sounds bad. The guys that I have been interested in, or the guys that I've talked to, it was normally like the interest lost when they got back with something that was familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this only because I don't know what you're going through.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, but like this real talk. You know, you're very smart and very dominant. You know what I'm saying? And you're very pretty. So it comes off as, for most guys, it'll be like not what they're used to. You know what I'm saying? You come with a lot of qualities that it takes women the time to learn, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I didn't know if you was trying to try me on my YouTube channel, because I was like, yo, like he really about to drag me for filth right here on the camera. Like he just gonna do that, and it's nothing I can do about that.
No,
because I'm not recording again. So I was just gonna have to post it.
Yeah.
But okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish because I'm gonna let you finish.
But yeah, and I feel like, you know, it's not necessarily, I wouldn't say it's like your taste and manners are this and that. It's like they're not used to a woman who has like her qualities or no, like, you know what I'm saying?
That makes sense, because I've always been told that I'm very mature for like my age bracket and my age group. So like that makes sense. Like I understand what you're saying, because like mentally and like how I handle stuff is on a different maturity level than people who tend to be my age. Because y'all, I turned 22 in August, so I'm still young. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still vibrant. You know what I'm saying? I'm still living my best life. So you like that look? So I'm still living my best life. So like I can understand it. And you know, like a lot of guys too, it takes, I'm not gonna say you in specific, but it takes guys like that are our age a little longer to mature and kind of be for sure about what they want. Like, you know, me, I have an idea about what I want, where I see myself, this, that, and the third, like a little timeline for myself. Not that that's probably not a good thing, but you know, timelines disappoint. But nonetheless, you know, I have somewhat of an idea of like what I want out of life. And then guys, you know, sometimes y'all are still figuring it out. Like you don't know if you coming or going, or what exactly it is that you want to do at that moment in your life. So I understand that completely.
I'm all over the place.
You're still trying to figure it out, but I feel like at this point everybody kind of is. You know, it's like we're too young to have it all together, but too old not to. Like it's just like a weird phase that I feel like we are in, and it's annoying because I be stressed all the time. Okay, and so
stressed worried about a relationship we don't have.
all the time, worried about potentials, and they haven't even proved themselves worthy. Prove themselves worthy. So it's just crazy, you know. But we all just want love. Want to be loved. Love me. Okay, so the last one, this one is kind of like a deeper one as well, but we're getting kind of on time again. It's a little, we be talking, boy, but these are the conversations we be having on the regular. For real. So it's kind of crazy. But emotional processes, like how do you guys emotionally process? Now I know, okay, shifting the seat because you already know. Okay, so like I know, like emotional maturity is different for everyone. Like for me, I made a video last week or the week before last about suppression, and emotionally, like I don't deal with my emotions off rip. You know what I'm saying? And it takes me kind of like a minute to kind of sort them out. So like I just wonder, like how do you guys operate? Not you guys, I'm gonna say how do you, because emotionally everybody's in a different level of emotional maturity. So I feel like that's kind of like a complicated question to ask, you know, from a general perspective of males, because I just know everybody's in a different place. Because I've met some guys that are younger than me that are emotionally mature, like way more emotionally mature than I am. So like how do you make this one personal, like emotionally process emotions, I guess, whether it's for a female or just emotion, just in general.
I would say, just because I'll just say for men, especially black men, a lot, you come from, like, your background, like your family, like, you come from, like, where if you cry or you show a sense of emotion, it's like you're weak, or like, you're sensitive and stuff like that. And that's something I'm still trying to get over, because that's not true. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, we bottle things up, and we just, like, I'm fine ourselves into depression. You know what I'm saying? Like, we say I'm fine, we say I'm okay, or you don't want to talk about it, or you say, like, if I talk about it, like, I'm not weak. You know what I'm saying?
Or it's like a situation where you're just kind of like, I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna get over it. Like, you don't really address 100%. The fact that you're hurting, or you don't address the fact that you have those emotions that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And I think that's something too, like, just something that, from an African American perspective in general, like, that's something that we have been conditioned and trained to believe, that we should not show expression. Even like a female, like, like, yeah, we cry, we're allowed to cry, and stuff like that, but like, we have kind of been molded into this idea that showing those emotions, having those emotions, is not okay, and you have to be strong, you need to suck it up, and you need to keep it pushing, because it's just that strong, you're supposed to be strong all the time. And I know it's 10 times harder to be a male, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, I also can see it from a girl's perspective of it being just as hard, of trying to, like, work through those emotions. And then, we do have a lot of people that suffer from depression, that suffer from anxiety, that have not had that opportunity to cope with what they've dealt with, that trauma that they have felt and experienced in their life. They have not been able to deal with that, because we've been told, suck it up, don't show emotion, don't express emotion, blase, blase, blase. Like, that's been something that I feel like is something that we as the African American community have begin to like, acknowledge. It hasn't been completely and totally, like, resolved, but it's something that we're just now starting to acknowledge, and I'm excited to see how many people are going to be able to start breaking that off, as far as generational, transfer and stuff like that, where they'll be able to begin to handle their emotions in a healthy manner.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Lord knows. And I remember, like, when I was in high school and stuff like that, like, I really did suffer from depression and stuff like that. And when I tried to tell my parents, it was something that they did not understand. It was something that they did not process. And at first I used to get so frustrated and so angry, because I'm like, how do you not understand what I'm saying to you? You know what I'm saying? And, like, I can't express to you why I feel the way I feel, but this is how I feel. And it was something that because, generationally wise, like, this is just something that they were just taught. You're just supposed to push it down, and you just keep pushing, and you keep pushing. And I didn't realize that it was really a problem until, like, I would have those emotional breakdowns that were just, like, just overwhelming, to the point where it made me feel like I didn't want to live anymore, because I was tired of carrying that emotional weight. And so I think I'm excited and praying that as we continue to go through these years, that'll be something that is addressed and handled properly.
I agree. Especially, I don't know if this plays a part, but I know, like, being the oldest out of siblings and things like that, you're taught to, like, you just got to eat it and keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like growing up, that's all you know. So it's like, what more can you do than just, not, you know what I mean?
You just take some L's and keep it pushing. And we're both oldest, so it's kind of so, like, I understand what you're saying, because there were some moments, like, his is a little different, because I'm the only girl and I'm the oldest. So, like, mine was, like, I could get away with murder because I was daddy's little girl. However, JaTyler was the oldest male, and it's a little more difficult. Just, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like there is kind of some stuff where you just kind of had to bite the bullet, or you were held responsible for stuff that you ain't had nothing to do with nothing, and that kind of had some level of resentment, because when I'm getting beat for, what am I getting beat for? It makes no sense. Yeah, but this was really awesome. Thank you so much
for
coming on here with me, and doing this. I really like this setup. I mean, I know like those videos that I have posted, you know, prior and stuff like that are awesome, and I plan on continuing doing those. But I am looking forward to doing more of this sit down and let's just talk.
Yes,
Speak with Key. You know, I'm gonna live up to my name. Speak with Key. We gonna have these conversations. We gonna, you know, have that Christian perspective, and hopefully, you know, we can answer those questions that...
Yeah, different perspectives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, answer those questions that people have but they don't want to ask. And with that being said, y'all can submit questions to me, whether it's via social media. You know, I got all my social media handles at the end of this video. Y'all can, you know, reach out to me if y'all want to email. That's my YouTube handle. What is it? That's what it's called. Yeah, the YouTube handle. Y'all can email that as well if y'all have situations that you want advice on. This is Speak with Key. I'm here to help advise y'all in any way that I can from a Christian perspective. I got friends that are Christians that are going to try to help me, you know, for the things that I don't have answers for. I have parents that are going to be, y'all will see my parents soon too, that are going to help me explain some of these things that are difficult to explain. But thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. This has been fun. I'm a little nervous. I ain't gonna hold you, but this is definitely, you know, fun. I hope y'all like, comment, subscribe to my dog Key. You know what I'm saying? So yes,
and he'll be back, y'all. This is my, like I told y'all, this is my road dog for real. For real. We together a lot of the time, and we're getting ready to go into senior year, so we're gonna have nothing but time. We let it see. I tried to put that little earring. You won't really go nowhere.
Oh.
Okay, time to go. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Y'all be blessed.